look who it is. I'm sure we were standing in that car park out there about 12 months ago talking about a good performance and a defeat. This is Hearts standard. This is Hearts Standard. I'm Craig Cairns. That is Joel Sked. We have just watched Hearts lose their first game of the Scottish Premiership season to Aberdeen. Joel, it had to be at Pittodrie, didn't it?
It had to be at Pittodrie. I think a few fans watching this, listening to this, will probably disagree with your assessment that it was a good performance in comparison to 12 months
ago. Good
ago.
Elements then. I'll take that back. Good elements.
Good elements. I think created good chances, or certainly created enough chances to at least get something from the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it all built to Pittodrie, just that long winless record in the Granite Sea. Oh my! And then you just add in the fact that Halkett was suspended, Benny got injured, and then the rumours come out on Saturday about Shankland and Adju, and then they get confirmed that they were both out. Not only that, they were both, well, obviously Shankland was going to be, but they were both going to be in the starting 11. Derek McInnes revealed afterwards. So yeah, it all just pointed to that. The nature of the goal as well. There's an element of luck to it for Aberdeen. There's good elements from Aberdeen as well, but like lucky element, and then you've got the chances the Hearts created but didn't take, and all just added to it's when you add all that together, you're not going to win a game of football.
Yes.
And you need to, I think, just can reiterate what McInnes said, you need to be able to take your chances when you're on top, and especially coming up here where not once since Abiola Dowda scored. It was
a frustrating performance. I think
messy as well.
Yes, there were points where it wasn't very cohesive as well. Yeah, and in the first half especially, I thought likes of Kizaridis and Braga's passing were too inaccurate. Not that they were the two players that should have been blamed the most or anything like that. But yeah, I suppose I was going a bit too far when I said a good performance. It was a frustrating performance, but I suppose it's not one that leaves you at a loss. There's still encouragement there that Hearts can basically get back on the horse after this. I don't know why I'm using that expression, but I'm using that expression.
Yeah, I think I think you're right. Frustrating was probably the key word, and I understand that people will be probably, just because it's the first defeat and defeats, and it always seems like the defeats are louder than the kind of the wins and like the reaction to it. But it wasn't like a egregiously bad performance. No. It wasn't one where we've come to Aberdeen and we've been, it's either backs against the wall and kind of lucky to get away with 1-0, or a case of it's just been a really struggled performance to create anything. There was meaningful elements to it, but yeah, it goes back to what you said about execution, both execution and decision making. So like there's so many times in the first half, and that's probably, I'm guessing, if either of us do, whoever does the analysis of it on Monday, I think probably the best thing to focus on is those moments in the first half where, and we turned to each other numerous times where it often seemed to be Braga who'd had the ball and Kabori made good runs, but he just never found them either. There was one moment where I think Braga decided to go a different direction, and then Kabori, instead of slipping in Kabori, and then the next time he tried to play Kabori in far too quickly. Kabori was still trying muscling away or battling with the defender. So it was just those kind of two moments really summed up the frustrating element. And then you've got the chances from set piece. Harry Milne hit the bar. Frankie Kent had a really good header. Had a really good chance from a header, but it didn't get enough. It didn't generate enough power in it. Magnuson even worse in the second half. I didn't mention it in the analysis, but I just immediately looked down at the dugout, and Derek McInnes had turned round to the dugout and just like that. Like really angrily. It's like, why is he not putting his head for it? So that was frustrating. And then
I thought he was going to run on the pitch at Schwalov in the first half at one point.
Yeah, and then who else? Harry Milne hit the bar. James Wilson had a half chance at the end, and then there was just another couple of wee moments. So, and it was just that one moment, I'm just trying to think if Aberdeen had anything other than the goal they scored.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, you look at the performance, it's, yes, there's elements that aren't good enough, but Aberdeen didn't have that many chances other than their goal. But you can't argue that in front of goal for Hearts, it was a poor performance. For some of the things that you've pointed out there, the idea was to have the front three up against running at the Aberdeen back three, and you saw right in the first minute Kabori sent through, and I actually think Jack Milne was a wee bit lucky. Kabori goes down way too late, but I think Jack Milne does pull his shoulder and is maybe a wee bit lucky that the referee doesn't see it, and that kind of set the tone for what Kabori wants to do. Kabori is so good at, it looks like he's thinking about making the move before he's played the pass. So the ball will come into him and he'll lay it off, and then he's already on. And I noticed a couple other times as well, he's very, very good. This may sound nuts for saying this about a professional footballer, but he's very good at hitting, like, especially passes, very, very hard but very, very accurate.
Yeah, he's got a bit of swaz, just like a bit of something behind him. I mean, there was moments where he was really clean and crisp in what he did, and a lot, like, it looked like a big improvement from times we've seen him at Tynecastle, where you were like, I'm not sure it was what he was trying to do or what he was meaning to do or what he's going to do. Everything seemed methodical and measured, and I was encouraged by his performance, more so his first half performance. But it was clear that, I mean, kind of throwing it back to you, that you wrote about it, the spine of the team. Hearts were without key elements of the spine. I thought Frankie Kent stepped in for Craig Halkett really well. He was up against Lazatic, and Lazatic didn't seem to be interested in dealing with going up physical with him. So Frankie Kent did everything that you want Frankie Kent to do. I thought we missed Benny in the midfield beside Cammy Devlin. Don't think Thomas Magnuson stepped up, and then Shanklin as well. Just think you missed his intelligence, his tactical awareness, his awareness in general, and his composure and calmness in possession. And I think that really stood out, and I hope fans who maybe question Shanklin this season realise the importance of his role within the team, even if he's not scoring or not playing at his very best. Just his presence makes Hearts better.
Well, even some of those situations that we're talking about with Braga there, you fancy Shanklin to, and there's nothing against Braga, he's a different player from Shanklin, but that's one of Shanklin's strengths, teeing up his teammates and stuff, and you think he would have executed a couple of those through balls better. Where was it going to go next? So you were talking about the partnership. It's not just, or the three players that are missing, you're breaking up three good partnerships. Now this is a big squad, there's a lot of quality and depth. There's quite a few of them that haven't had much game time, so we're still waiting to see. They're still sort of being blooded into the squad as well. And yeah, you could look at a couple of performances and say, okay, they've not been up to as good as some of the other folk have been, but I think the big issue is you're taking out three key players and then breaking up three of the key partnerships that have been crucial to Hearts' success this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't think I can really add much more to it, so I'll chuck a question back at you, and it's something that's probably the big thing from the people on social media, or speaking to my mates, just on the back of this game, is the back three. Hearts fans got a problem with the back three, been a problem under Naismith, problem under Nielsen, under Christians didn't really play that much, but there's times that the back three frustrates, and I have no issue with the back three, especially the centre backs of Hearts have got. My issue is with the right side, and I called it the right side kind of dilemma, because it's been a dilemma this season with Harry Milne obviously came in at the right when he played the back four, and then McInnes as a wing back. What's your? I think McInnes looks really uncomfortable as a wing back compared to, I think he's passable as a full back. What's your view on the back three and the right side of that, especially when, like today, when McInnes plays? Because when I seen the starting lineup, that was the one that was the element of that starting lineup that kind of made me go, oh, not sure about that.
I think you've hit the nail on the head that if the right side was sorted out, if Hearts had the right wing back nailed down, like who was the right wing back, I don't think it would be as much of an issue. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the back three. I think there's certain times where it's warranted. Hearts used it at the start of the season perfectly well. Now I know that Hearts hadn't quite clicked, and like Dundee United, for instance, didn't play too well in that game, but still managed to win the game. That was a back three, but they changed at half time. I think that was a trio of matches where they switched at half time. So I mean, I can understand where people are coming from. But I flirted with the idea of coming into this game for the predicted 11. I thought that there was a good chance McInnes would, and I think part of the reason is because of McInnes. And looking at the game against Dundee United, he looked a little bit sort of out of sorts. Fata got at him a few times, and I think that part of the reason was with Halkett also being out as well. I think he was just looking for a little bit extra insurance, what was supposed to be against Aberdeen's danger man, who wasn't playing on the day. So for today, I didn't have too much of an issue with it. Okay, you can analyse the game and say that maybe it hasn't worked out, but I think it's individual performances and not executing things, and like Derek McInnes is saying, the quality in front of goal rather than the shape of the team for why Hearts haven't won the game today or got a point today.
I think I wrote about it as a kind of wider issue. It's clear that Borgrevinck is down the pecking order at right back, and people ask why he was signed before McInnes. I think McInnes rates him as a footballer, but I don't know if he sees him in his lineup in terms of the profile of player he maybe wants. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a position that's looked at in the January transfer window. Graham Jones obviously came out and said, and McInnes said before, that they're looking to do one or two things, maybe three things, without putting any specific numbers on it. So that wouldn't surprise me. And yeah, I think you make a good point. It's like that was the downfall. I thought kind of bigger downfall was maybe a wee bit of lack of control in midfield. I thought Cammy Devlin was excellent, but also
one-man midfield.
Yeah, it did feel like that watching him.
I'm not having a go at Magnuson. I think it was how the team was set up and the way he was just demanding the ball. And
I just felt like the game passed Magnuson by on both sides of the ball, and then like you said, the front three didn't click collectively, and a couple of them had off days in terms of what their standard and expectation is that Hearts.
Kizarides especially, but you're not going to have a go at him for the way he's performed this season.
And
but
there's still moments where he's.
That's it. That's what I was about to say. His passing wasn't there today, but he put in the amazing delivery for Findlay where he should have scored, but he was probably offside. And then he put in that great cross, but it took an amazing defensive header on the line to stop Braga from scoring. So he was even threatening, even though he didn't have a very good performance. Is there anything else? Any other business or anything else we want to cover before we get out of here?
Just it's one where it's you look at it, you kind of take yourself out of the moment and you go 4 points at this stage of this, a 4 point lead at this stage of the season, and this start of the season you have, everyone would have taken a bit in the hand off. But then it's just like the way it's gone, and I think one win in the last four. So there's all
the Hearts haven't won again since I read that article that they're not going to have a collapse. Basically,
yeah, I know.
Wrote that article.
So that's a wee bit not concerned, but it's definitely something that keep an eye on. I think next Saturday's really big in terms of that response, and that was always going to come. Hearts weren't going to go out the season unbeaten, even though at times I was thinking, could we beat an Invincibles? No, we can't. No, we certainly can't. So that's a big thing, is going to Fir Park next week. Motherwell, who had a period where they were playing excellently but weren't getting the results, have got the results, starting to get the results now, certainly in the league. Know what they did to us at Tynecastle. Go there, 4,500 Hearts fans and like the way in. So it's an opportunity for Hearts to kind of bounce back and show that bit of kind of mettle to them. And I do think we've seen it this season in terms of in the resilience within performances that they have it within them. And I just think it'll be kind of calm everyone down, especially if it bounces back into a win over Kilmarnock.
We will leave it there. We will be back after that game, but we will be back a few times before that during the week. There'll be plenty of reaction from this game. There'll be plenty of stuff going up during the week. Please check everything out at heartstandard.co.uk. Give us a wee subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you all soon.